Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. So today we are going to be reviewing Curse for the Homesick by Laura Brooke Robson. Once again, huge thank you to the publisher for sending me a copy of this book. It was unexpected book mail, and you want to know something? It was actually an unexpected delight. The book is non-linear, and I think for the purpose of the story, the non-linear aspect of it worked really, really well. So the story follows the romance between Tess and Soren, and they're kind of will they won't they relationship because they have a lot of baggage. They grow up on the island of Stenland, and on this island it is, well known that every generation 3 women are afflicted with the Skeld curse. So what that is they wake up with marks on their face, and it happens to women, but they wake up with marks on their face, and for 3 months and they basically cannot look anyone in the eye, because then they will petrify them. It will basically turn them to stone. One morning when Tess was a kid, her mother forgot to look at the mirror, and she ended up petrifying both Soren's mom and dad. Obviously, she went to prison for 3 months because she just forgot, and she's kind of haunted by that aspect. But once it's all said and done, her mother just kind of ups and leaves. Leaves her father, and says, I kind of don't want to have anything to do with the island. And I think for the story's purposes, the curse, while it does have a historical aspect to this mythical island, it's more of a protective to protect the island from invaders. I think for the women it is an allegory for their place in society. How women tend to feel trapped by domesticity. They don't know how to not feel trapped by the domestic roles that are often, kind of labeled on women. You're stuck here, you're going to be a wife, and you're going to be a mother, and that's about it. But for Tess, it goes deeper. I think it goes a little deeper for her, to the point where she just doesn't want to hurt Soren. She loves him. She's been in love with him all her life, and he's been in love with her all his life. So there's this fear that they're not meant to be together, but they are meant to be together. And there's this fear that she's going to hurt him, like her mother hurt her father, because her mother wrote a whole book on the whole experience. Like I said, the world knows about the cursed. She writes a whole book, and then in a sense Tess is just like, oh, so we were what was keeping you trapped. You didn't even think about leaving beforehand, leaving the island. And it's traumatic for her. For one, just to have her mother have been in that position, and 2, for her mother to leave, and then 3, to find herself kind of not really resenting her mother, but connecting with her. She's like, I need to leave this island too. Like, I can't be on this island. I don't want to be in that role. So there's a lot of strain and push and pull between her and Soren, which does lend a lot to the development of their relationship, because they do talk about their feelings. And at some point he does try. I think that's really important to note. He does try, because he loves her. He does try to leave the island. And you would think, with someone whose parents were taken from him at such a young age, you would think that he would want nothing to do with the island. But it is his home. It's his community. And that sense of community and homeness for him is more important than the pain. Like, all the happy moments outweigh the pain. And I think she sees that Soren does not want to just put her into a role. He just wants to be with her. He loves her. He is willing to do what he needs to do to be with her. So she has to make peace with her inner turmoil. You know, you can't be in a loving relationship if you can't make peace with your own inner turmoil. And you can see that Soren has dealt with his inner turmoil just through the narrative. Because it's all through Tessa's perspective. You don't really get to see Soren's perspective. You just learn from him through his relationship with her and how she views their relationship. And she's always the one to be leaving. She's the one who's always leaving him because she can't just rectify the past with the present. She can't just kind of let go of the pain. She can't let go of the curse, even when she does end up getting afflicted with the curse herself and having to live in isolation. There's a lot of going on. There's a lot of depth to the relationship. There's a lot of depth to the story. And I think it's really, really interesting to read. And I like the non-linear aspect because you're following them as kids and then as teenagers and going to from present day to past and then college, you know, after college, their life. So there is a lot of back and forth, and then her relationship with other people, and then his relationship with other people through her eyes, and you get to see that love that they have for each other. And it doesn't even feel like toxic either. It doesn't feel toxic. You would think a relationship such as theirs should feel toxic, but it's not, because it's her fear that's holding her back. And he doesn't push her to do anything. He's just there by her side. He's constantly, like I said, she's the one that's always leaving. She's the one that's always pulling away. And yes, he lets her go because he doesn't want her to feel trapped. And I think that that's very important to note. And I think that's why their relationship in the end does work out, because he wants to be her person. He just wants to be by her side. He listens, but she's not the one who listens to him. So for her, it's a lot of inner reflection to move on and accept that, you know, maybe her home isn't so bad. Maybe all the good memories of her home are not so bad. Does the curse suck? Yes, it sucks. But when she's affected, she understands that the curse is what she makes of it. So her role as a woman is what she can make of it so that she can be happy in here, inside, so that she can be in a healthy relationship and live up to her own expectations and not the expectations of other people. So I hope all that made sense. I feel like my notes were kind of like all scatterboxed here because I was just kind of like writing everything that I felt and everything that I thought and everything that I was just like, oh yeah, that's an interesting aspect of the story. Why didn't I think of that? My notes on here are a little scatterbox. I hope this review made sense. If it didn't, I sincerely apologize. I just think it's a really interesting novel to read. And it was an unexpected delight. It's not a book I requested. It was just a book that arrived in the mail. And I was like, ooh, cool book. Thank you, HarperCollins, for sending me this book. I was pleasantly delighted to read it. And I really do recommend it. I really do think it is interesting. So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, happy reading.